Welcome, scholars, to our Leadership Summit session on chapter funds and fundraising. My name is Kevin Loader, and I am a Chapter Relations Manager with NSCS. What are we talking about today? We're going to cover chapter funds and fundraising, about the chapter funds card, fundraising ideas, fundraising examples, and funds for events and activities. Chapter funds. Funds for the year are available beginning in early fall. So funds are loaded onto that chapter funds card once a year in the beginning of fall. And the amount of chapter funds is based on a couple things. Number of new members, star status, and any fundraising that's been added on. And we'll talk a little more about how to add fundraising funds to the card throughout the year. Chapter funds are for member events and activities, community service, chapter promotion, and scholarships. The chapter funds card. Each chapter has one card. You'll receive a monthly email about the funds and spending. This is new. Each chapter is expected to keep track of the budget. We no longer require each chapter to send us a chapter budget twice a year. However, you're still expected to keep track of your budget. If the chapter card is lost, report that to your chapter operations manager, Holly, Maggie, or Tara. You cannot withdraw cash from an ATM or get cash back at a store with the chapter funds card. But if you need cash for payment for a service or reimbursement, consider the option of getting a gift card with the chapter funds card, like a Visa gift card you'd see in a 7-Eleven or CVS type of store. But you can also fill out an NSCS reimbursement form. You just got to remember to have the receipts to go along with that. To add funds to the card, you want to mail a check or money order to our NSCS headquarters with your chapter name. So the mailing address for that would be Ashley Davey, NSCS, 2000 M Street, Northwest, Suite 600, Washington, D.C., 20036. Ashley Davey is on our finance team. And she's explained that she needs you on the check or money order for the pay to the order of. You can simply write NSCS, or you can spell out the National Society of Collegiate Scholars. On the memo line, put something like fundraised for, and then your college or university name, so we know where to apply the funds to. Notify Maggie, Holly, or Tara that you are mailing the funds. Expect that it might take a week to arrive to DC, like for example, if you're mailing from the West Coast. But never send cash. It's not safe to do that by mail, and we've got to receive it by check or money order. For purchases that require the address or zip code, use this same address, the 2000 M Street, zip code 20036. And when you're like doing an online order and it requires the name on the card, it's not Ashley's name, it's just the name as it appears on the card of your college or university name. Fundraising for what? Once you know your chapter's available balance, consider whether you'll fundraise for the chapter or for a cause or both. For example, if your chapter has over $1,000 in funds, consider fundraising for a cause or service instead of for the chapter. So it's good to fundraise for the chapter, but if you've got plenty in chapter funds, you might want to focus on a service cause instead of just the chapter funds in general. For example, consider fundraising for Active Minds. Nationally, we're asking each chapter to fundraise for Active Minds with a minimum of 200. So let's get into some fundraising ideas. A traditional bake sale. This is a big one we commonly see. So a bake sale on campus or near campus. Ask officers and members to donate baked goods for the cause. Set up a table in a prominent location on campus. And this promotes your chapter while bringing in funds. So remember that you're representing your chapter while you're fundraising through something like a bake sale. When the weather's good, maybe a car wash, maybe on or near campus. Maybe ask a local business if you can set up a car wash in their parking lot. And some stores will even match the funds that you gather from the wash, because it's a win-win for bringing in business, some business for them too. Selling donuts. So this is very popular, especially where there's Krispy Kreme donuts. So it's typical that groups will fundraise by selling boxes a dozen Krispy Kreme donuts. That's pretty good. Now looking at some fundraising examples. I like these from Madonna University. So we've got an example pulled from their chapter Facebook page. And what it says is, amazing job today in NSCS. Today, our members not only gave homemade Valentines to children at a nearby Montessori school, but raised $300 for charity. Thanks to everyone who helped with the bake sale, we were able to show our support for two charities very near and dear to our hearts, American Heart Association and Active Minds. Keep up the great work. So I like that example of how they combined a couple different things going on. You know, it wasn't just the bake sale or just making the homemade cards. It was all in one type of thing. So that sounds like it was fun. Central Michigan University had a lot of success with fundraising through Buffalo Wild Wings. So I bet a lot of you are familiar with that restaurant, really popular near campuses. And they've been great about working with our chapters to set up fundraisers. So when you're doing like a restaurant fundraiser, put a lot of thought into how you're going to promote and advertise that. So you'll need some type of a graphic, right, about which, you know, the address, the time, the date, and you can add something to it like they did. So not only was it a fundraiser, but the officers planned to be there from 7 to 9 for a gift card raffle and to answer any questions about the organization. So they had great success with that. Fundraising at football games. Wow, so this was a real success with our chapter at Ohio State University, the Buckeyes. So I was on their campus a day before one of their induction ceremonies and saw them fundraising through this example. It was right the day of the football game on campus. And as people were headed into the stadium, they had a table set up on campus to fundraise by selling Buckeye necklaces. So something very popular for a football game, showing the school spirit. So their goal was to fundraise 300. And so these necklaces were $5 each. So doing the math, that means they sold at least 60 of these to fundraise 300. And so put some thought into sports on your campus. Would you be able to do something similar to something, you know, maybe handmade that shows the school spirit, like these Buckeye necklaces that don't cost much to make yourselves, but is probably going to be a hot item to have before something like a football game. Some more fundraising examples. something like a snack snail over at University of Illinois, Chicago style snack sale, March 30th, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on campus. Chipotle. So similar kind of to Buffalo Wild Wings, a restaurant that's really great to work with on fundraising. And you want to, make a good graphic on promoting which location, the date, and time. So that's what Grand Canyon University did here. Did the location in Phoenix, Saturday, April 7th from 4 to 8 p.m. So, they did it for 4 hours, not just an hour. So you can catch people at different times of the day. And the restaurant sometimes makes the request that the people, need to bring in this flyer or show it on their smartphone or simply tell the cashier you're there for supporting the cause. 50% of the proceeds were donated to the GCU chapter. So that was a success. Now looking at utilizing funds for events. So one of the bigger member events, and one that a lot of you are preparing for this fall, is the annual new member induction ceremony. So there's a couple different things to consider with budgeting for that. Is there a venue fee? Hopefully not. To be honest, 99% of all of our chapters get the venue space on campus for free. We had one chapter that for a couple years was paying a couple $100 each year for the venue, and then come to find out there was other free space just as big on campus. So make sure you're looking at the free options for venues on campus, whether that's like the theater or an auditorium. Another thing to consider is, some table decorations. Not going all out, wedding style, but just a couple things. Maybe if, consider, are people going to be sitting at round tables together? And some light decorations to put on the tables or to put around the stage or your check-in table. You want to be thinking too about the speakers and distinguished honorary members. If they're going to be speaking or you're going to be recognizing them, maybe some type of small token of appreciation for them. Maybe it's flowers or a card of some sort. Food or cake, refreshments. So you're definitely encouraged to provide refreshments and, light appetizers. Cake is really popular choice for the induction ceremony. It's not that you need to provide a 4-course meal for every attendee. That would be too expensive to bring in catering, but something, based on the time of day. So if you're having an 11 a.m. induction ceremony, cake might not be the right time of day for that, but just consider some type of food. And then this isn't required, but some chapters do hire, a photographer for an hour or two. This being a special event, maybe want someone with an actual digital camera rather than just a cell phone. So think about that. Maybe a student photographer from the school newspaper, and maybe they'd charge $30, $40 an hour is a good deal. Another thing that is optional that some chapters have had success with is live music. So you want to be playing music at some point during the induction ceremony, maybe as people are walking in to help set a welcoming atmosphere. But if on your campus there's student groups like an a cappella group, right, that can sing and don't have to bring in musical instruments, maybe they'll come and perform a couple songs. Again, for a donation like $40, $50, $60 is a good use for the induction ceremony. All right, a couple other examples. General member meetings monthly. That's a good opportunity to have snacks, maybe drinks of some sort at that. But remember to bring our NSCS swag that we sent in the fall box. Oh, before I forget, this picture here, Arizona State University, they made like a welcome sign, you know, they branded it. It says Arizona State University up top, NSCS logo, and members, and then National Society of Collegiate Scholars spelled out. And what I love about this is this can stay with the chapter forever and be used every time they have, you know, their induction ceremony and member meetings. It's just something great to look into. Can you get one of these printed on campus or maybe at a FedEx, and keep with your chapter materials? Okay, social events. We've seen chapters do social events for their members, like going to the pumpkin patch in the fall, bowling. I've seen a lot of campuses have like a bowling alley on campus, and around the winter time, ice skating. So when you're looking for social events, make it clear to your members, like bowling, for example. Is the chapter getting everybody's bowling shoes, or is the chapter just renting out the lanes, and members can come and bowl, but they just got to rent the shoes? Think through those type of things for budgeting. Another example, advisor appreciation. Each year we ask our chapters to recognize their advisors through an advisor appreciation day. And it's up to you, your officer board, to decide, is this coffee, lunch, flowers, or simply a card? And get a picture with them. And some more ideas for utilizing funds for events in the chapter. Monthly officer meetings. So if your officer board meets monthly for an hour or two, not just 15 minutes, you might want to do that during dinner time, right? Or lunch. So it's okay for the officer board to get yourself, as a team meeting, something like pizza or coffee, but something that you have like on campus, or not necessarily going out to a restaurant and tipping a waiter type of thing, but some type of food for your officer meeting. Tabling. So when you're tabling for your chapter to promote and raise awareness on campus that your chapter exists and is active, think about the supplies you might want to add for tabling. I've got a couple examples for that coming up. Open house, ice cream social. I've also got an example for this, thinking about how to invite prospective members to check out the chapter before joining, or for brand new members. Here's a creative idea, visiting a neighboring chapter. So if you find out that there's a chapter just within a short driving distance trip, and your officer board would like to go meet their officer board, you can consider, are you all going to carpool in someone's car, someone going to drive, and that person can get some, gas with the chapter card, or maybe it's something your officer board's going to get lunch for if you all go together. And towards the end of the year, before graduation, it's very popular. Members want to know about NSCS graduation regalia. So some chapters decide that for their officers, they'll get them graduation regalia for serving on the officer board for a whole year. And some chapters even recognize their most active members with the graduation regalia item. All right, tabling. So here's just some ideas and things to think through when tabling. You want to show up, and this is about promoting the chapter and raising awareness that your chapter exists on campus. We commonly see chapters design and create their own like poster board, as you can see in these examples. So thinking, where to get the craft materials from that, what craft materials do you already have, or those type of things. Candy, you can see they've put some candy on the table, some kind of an icebreaker as people walk up and ask, what is this? Even coffee or hot cocoa, if you can pull that together, that will bring in a lot of traffic. And not necessarily charging for coffee or hot chocolate, but just a popular item to get people to curious to come up and chat, and provide the cups for that. Remember to bring NSCS swag from the fall box. And consider bringing a laptop to have on your chapter's Facebook page on display. And then also too, maybe on another laptop or piece of paper, an event RSVP, something people can enter their name and email, so you can invite them to an upcoming event like an ice cream social or open house. And finally, remember, each chapter should have an NSCS tablecloth. About a year ago, we gave every chapter an NSCS tablecloth. So find out if your chapter has one, where it is, and take a look at it before the day of the event, like tabling, and see if it's possible to iron it if need be. And here we're looking at a coffee and hot chocolate example from University of Wisconsin, Eau Claire. They shared this on their chapter Facebook page. They said, "This morning was a success, handing out coffee and hot chocolate. Thanks to everyone that helped out." So you can see here they've got 2 thermostats, one for hot chocolate and one for coffee, and the cups to go, cream and sugar. Very popular, especially around midterms or finals. All right, and here is an open house ice cream social example from University of Michigan. So you can see here they designed a great graphic. It says, "Got an NSCS invitation? Come learn more. Ice cream information session. January 27th, 1 p.m. East Hall 3021. So invite RSVPs from the tabling example, and invite prospects. So for something like an open house with ice cream, think about the ice cream itself, how much of that you're going to bring. It's fun to have toppings, spoons, and then what's it going to be served in? Cones, bowls, or cups? So that's been a popular event in the fall and in January, February. Okay, and rock painting. Some campuses have a tradition of student organizations painting giant rocks on campus. And look, we've got a familiar face here. That's Sarah Lawrence, back at her when she was chapter president at University of Toledo. And we've got an example from University of Akron. So not every chapter has this tradition of rock painting. So maybe at your chapter there's an opportunity to chalk somewhere in a prominent spot on campus. So think of these creative ways to promote the chapter on campus, and whether you need to get paint or chalk. So what did we talk about? Well, we covered for chapter funds and fundraising, your chapter funds card, fundraising ideas, fundraising examples, and funds for events and activities.